What's going on, guys? You can see your boy Cuts by Coast in the chair. He's back on YouTube. We're gonna do his haircut today. On the second side, we'll talk about his YouTube channel a little bit so you guys can know what he's up to and what he's about to be doing. So let's hop right into this cut. All right, first thing we gotta do is get these braids up out of the way. So I'm just gonna tie them to the other side and then we can come in and start the tape. All right, so first thing we gotta do is brush all this hair down. He's been cutting it himself, so you can see we got a little bit back here that's out of the braid. He said he wants to cut it off. We're just gonna start off by prepping this panel and then we can come in and do our taper. I'm gonna start off with a 1.5. I just wanna see what it does. I'm gonna go with the grain, try to blend in. One thing I did last time on his cut was I took like a 1.5 against the grain all the way up and it got a little bit light. So you guys can see it's already a little bit light. I'll be honest, last time I saw him, I thought it was much worse underneath here. We don't need to cut that bad, but we're basically gonna try to leave all the dark at the top, just work our taper up into it. So now I'll open up the 1.5 and we're gonna come behind the ear and just try to get kind of, you can see the inconsistencies here. Just wanna get it consistent going out towards behind the ear, kind of consistent on the side so we can come in and do our taper without getting this dark line away at the top. You guys always wanna hold the braids out of the way so you don't grab any of that hair. We wanna make sure that we cut down everything that's hanging over, that's long, that he can't braid, just to make sure it looks nice and clean when we're done. First step we're gonna do, we're gonna come in and we're gonna do a high taper. So we're gonna come from the bottom of the vertical bar to the back of the ear right here, pretty much straight. I might curve it just a little bit. We're just gonna punch this line in, slowly dropping as we get towards the back of the ear. This is the new FX1 skeleton trimmer. If you guys didn't see my first test video on those, definitely check that video out, but these things are crazy, and this is what I've been using for a little bit. We're about to use the gold shaver as well. Go ahead and get this down to shaver bald, and then we can start our first step of the taper. All right, so I kind of want to try to keep this a little bit low. I mean, it is a high taper, but I want to keep this dark at the top. So we're gonna go up about 1/2 inch, set in our guideline, following the same shape as the bald guideline. I'm gonna actually go ahead and put all the guidelines in so you guys can visualize what a high taper shape is supposed to look like, and then we'll work all those guidelines out. Now you all may notice I sloped it up a little bit at the front. That's because I want to leave as much of the vertical bar as I can. So I didn't follow this line straight up. It does drop slightly, a little bit thicker in the back. I want to make sure that I have some vertical bar to line up. And now we can come in with our open one and do another guideline. Now remember, we started with a 1.5, so you may not be able to see it as good. It's going to start to connect in, but we're going to go ahead and set our next guideline with the open one, another 1/2 inch up. All right, so we started with a 1.5 open. We're gonna go ahead with it half open, and I'm gonna go a little bit above the line. I'm basically counting on it being closed, and that's one thing different, guys, if you have been watching the channel. This Babyliss 1.5 is actually a little bit longer than the wall type 1.5. So this sweet spot is actually a 1.5 closed. So you can see we still have some of that line, but it's lightening up. Now I can close it up, and we'll go right on the line above the open one. Now that everything above the open line right here looks consistent, we'll come back in. I'm gonna start with an open one. I just wanna tie right into that 1.5 that we just did. Make sure that it all looks good. If there's any dark spots that are left that just didn't quite come out, we can hit them now, and then we'll close it up and start to attack that bottom line. Now we can close it up, and the same thing we just did on the section above it. I know that the one closed is not gonna take this line all the way out, so I'm gonna go a little higher than the line, knowing that the half guard is gonna finish it up, and then all we have left is the line at the bottom where we did the closed, well, I guess a trimmer line. So all the way the bald guideline at the bottom will be the last thing that we have to take out. Now, just like my normal steps, we're gonna use the half guard halfway open. You can see the line right here. That's what we're trying to take out. So I'm using the corner of the blade, and we're gonna work up into the closed one. And we'll just continue to work down and take that last line out after this. If you guys didn't see my detailing video, we're basically doing it the same way now. As we fade our way down, we're not trying to cut every hair. We're just cutting where the dark spots are. We wanna be real careful not to go too high. Now you guys can see that's pretty blended, and all we have to do is take this last line out at the bottom. So one of my favorite things about this new Low Pro is that all the way closed, it will take that line out. So we're gonna start there, we're gonna close it up. We're gonna come in, same thing, corner of the blade. We're just gonna start to flick at that bottom line. And then all we should need after that is to come in above that with it halfway open. You guys can see that pretty much looks done. We got a spot here, a little bit of a spot here, and the halfway open should take that out, and we'll be done with this taper. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and blend his beard out real quick before we move on to the other side. And the first thing I like to do is come basically following his cheek line. This is a 1.5, and we're just tying in. I'm basically gonna make, you can see where it's dark, everything above it I want to be consistent and tie into what's below. So we're just gonna clean up that top cheek line. And I can immediately turn this over, open it up, and I'll work basically this kind of this wedge where it starts to get skinnier. I wanna make sure it's a 1.5, and then I can fade my way up from there. Now I open one right above that. It doesn't take very long, guys. That's your open one. We can close it right up. I'm gonna go halfway, closed. You can see we're working our way up. And then sometimes you need the half guard. Sometimes we can pop this off, work our way up a little higher. You can even tilt the clipper out to make it a little bit longer. And tie right into that open one. Then we'll go half open and close at the top. And you guys can see that's all it took to blend the beard out. We'll go ahead and move on to the other side, and then we'll line everything up at the end. All right, guys, same steps on this side. I'm gonna time lapse it, and I'll get back with you guys on the lineup. All right, guys, so we want to brush the bangs down. That's what we call it. Kind of these loose hairs we were just discussing. He had combed some of it out in his middle, or whatever you want to call it, right here in the middle of his forehead. It grows up, so we want to kind of pull the corners down. I already did it on that side. We're gonna hit it with some spritz. I'm gonna go ahead and line up the rest of the haircut and let that dry, and then we'll come back and edge up the front. All right, guys, so you can see the overgrowth here in the back. He said it's been like 6 weeks or 2 months since he's cut it. So I kind of already looked. I don't want to go way up into it and cut it right next to the braids. So I've brushed it down. If you look behind the ear, you can kind of see where the natural hair grows. So we're gonna take a lot off, but this is all overhanging and just kind of, it's behind his ears. He doesn't pay attention to it. So we're gonna go ahead and clean it up. I'm gonna start right here where I can see where this hair is, and then I'm gonna work my way down. And if I need to take more, I can. We're just wanting to give him a nice clean hairline around the back. We're gonna pull the braids up and go across the bottom. And like I said, this is basically bangs that's hanging over. We brushed all this hair over past the hairline. His hairline's actually kind of up under these, so we're not really pushing it back. We're not taking a ton off, but you can see next to the braids, it's gonna give it such a cleaner appearance than what it was just growing. And you know, when he has his hair down, not in braids, it fits right in. But right now with the clean taper and the braids, we wanna get it all the way together. So now I'll work up towards the front. My middle finger is on his cheek, so I can rotate this trimmer and I can pivot it around the ear and get a nice clean circle around the ear. We'll go ahead and move on to the other side after this, and then we'll finish that front line up. All right, guys, I'm gonna come in with some fibers. I'm just gonna dust them on. Like I said, he doesn't have hairbrush down in the middle, but he does on the sides. Just gonna apply some fibers just to darken it. Like I said, over here on this vertical bar, we're gonna assist it with some fibers just to make the line pop a little bit better before we come in and line it up. You see, we have it all brushed down. I'll work our way back over to the other side. I'm just gonna accentuate the line up. Sometimes when I don't have a ton of hair to line up, I think fibers kind of help me do it without pushing it back, because you tend to push stuff back when you just can't seem to get it sharp. So I apply some fibers, and you guys will see now I could just hit it almost in the middle of his forehead, and it's gonna get dark. So now we'll come in, I'm gonna start in the middle at that highest point. And you guys see with the fibers, I can build a line out of nothing. So we're gonna use it right at where the hair is. We're gonna start that line up. We don't wanna take off any more than we have to. So starting in the middle, now over here we have those bangs that are brushed down. Work our way all the way over to this corner, and then we'll work our way back to the other corner. And I'm standing out of the way of the camera, so I can't really see it from the front to see if it's symmetrical. So once we get it kind of etched in, we'll come back in and detail it and make sure that it's straight. guys, now we're gonna come in with the Tomb45 triple cartridge razor. The line is already there, so all we're gonna do is pull the blade to the line, get any excess fibers off his forehead, get any stubble that's left behind, get it nice and sharp. We'll work our way over to this vertical bar, hit the vertical bar, then we'll hit the beard, and then I'll spin him and do the other side, and you guys can check out the finished product. All right guys, that is it for the cut. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we said we were gonna talk about his YouTube, but he just dropped a Gold Snap FX video. Make sure you guys go check that out and tell him that I sent you. You guys go support him. We gotta get him to keep at this. We've been talking about it the whole haircut. We gotta get him to stay on YouTube and bring some content for you guys. So go check him out. Cuts by Coast, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. And you already know if you like this video, smash that thumbs up. If you guys wanna see one of our old haircuts I did on him, click right there and check that video out.